we also have Keyboard Idol, which is coming on 1st of August. We're premiering. Yeah, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
You know, for a couple of years in my life, I taught some young people how to play keyboard and all that. And so there's a part of it me that's very fascinated watching some of the videos that were sent in, seeing all these people, very, very dexterous, you know, just handling the keys and all of that. I think that a lot of times we've downplayed the need for young people to explore other things in their life apart from the academics, you know. And I think this show is going to be one of the pivoting points for a lot of parents in Ghana, you know, that's going to say, listen, you know what, let's encourage them. If they want to play any instrument, let's encourage them. Let's get what they need, let's get them into it, you know. And some kids, you know, as friends of mine were saying the other day, they're so grateful that their parents insisted that they learn to play piano. Because at that time, they were very interested. They want to do other things. But now they're really, really grateful, you know. And I think that it's an important thing that this show will become that one thing that excites parents as much as exciting kids.
It's exactly.
You know, and then it's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
And I think what's so refreshing about Keyboard Idol is when you hear about keyboard, especially children, you know, people below the ages of 15, you think that that's something that's reserved for the elites or people who are very religious and find themselves in churches. Some of the videos we received are from children who are from low-income neighborhoods, but somehow their parents were able to get them the keyboard. So I think even kids who are not as financially privileged as the other kids you would normally think, you know, that are bees, they can play keyboard, will see people who look like them participating in Keyboard Idol. They will hear their stories and be inspired, you know, and maybe go to their parents and say, Mom, I think I can do this. You know, let's not create this segregation because some parents can't afford certain things. They rob their children of even acquiring that skill that may be helpful to them in future.
And I think that it also then opens up possibly a conversation about, you know, the public amenities, things like public libraries that you don't have to have money to go. Then therefore also maybe public music facilities where you don't have money to attend, to play, to practice and to hone your skills, right? So I think that these things are very important.
So beyond the, you know, the talents, I mean, we all know that they are very talented. What I'm personally looking forward to hearing will be the personal stories of the people who make it to the top 20, you know, how far they've come, how long they've been playing, people who actually influenced them to become who they are. Because to me, if you've made it to the top 20, honey, you're a winner because you were part of hundreds of people and you came out as top 20. So I think everyone who has someone participating in Keyboard Idol should watch, and I'm happy that they also get an opportunity to vote. You know, so if you see someone from your school, from your community, from your mosque, this is the time to show
to call
up
in the tribe
for them. You know, let the whole country see that you guys have produced somebody that's so worthy of celebrating.
Absolutely, fantastic. So I'm just, you know, to talk about the, you know, I said I was feeling a little bit mischievous. Let me just go into this direction a little bit. Why is it that the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, they always seem, and maybe I may be wrong, so correct me if I am, but they always seem late to the table of conversation whenever it is that there's an issue in town, you know? And why is it that it's only when there seems to be a public outcry brewing that they seems to jump on, you know, an issue? So, case in point, this particular weekend's matter about Ikuya Dente, the 90-year-old lady, right? It was brewing for about maybe 2-3 days. Then people started to ask questions. Where is the gender ministry? Then we get a message from the gender ministry and all that. There's been issues with kids being assaulted, and so on and so forth. And they always seem quiet. I'm not sure exactly, what that whole thing is about. And sometimes it looks like our duty bearers seem to be a little slow, in terms of reacting to situations.
Yeah. And I don't think it's even seen to. They are slow because when their mandate is not to release statements to react to things after they've happened, what are they doing about preventive measures? Right now, we're in coronavirus. A lot of children are home because schools are closed for people who are not in final year. So a lot of abuse going on in the homes, sexual, physical, psychological, emotional, financial abuse in the homes. I would love to see the gender ministry come out and say these are the programs we've implemented to ensure that kids who feel some sort of harm or threat at home can come to this place as a way to get away from it all, even if it's for 2-3 hours. Communities where people may be tempted to brand someone a witch, because when you listen to Eyewitness News last night, it sounds as though this is something that's very normal in the community. The only thing that makes this different is because it was recorded.
It was exposed,
if it had not been recorded,
it would have happened.
Everyone in the community would have been quiet. Maybe the woman's children who the last one shared their story on Eyewitness News as well. The media probably wouldn't have been interested because there's no videos to prove what happened. Apparently, there were other women who were assaulted, but they didn't die. So I would expect the gender ministry to say, these are the programs we're implementing to ensure that the elderly are protected, children are protected, women are protected, young boys are protected, because there are stories of tutors sodomizing young boys that they're supposed to be teaching. So what do you do beyond? DOFS is going to do its part, the police are going to do their part, the perpetrators are going to go to jail. But how do we ensure that the children don't live with this trauma for the rest of their lives? How do we ensure that the families, because Madame Dente, she's passed on, her children have to live with the guilt of what if we had not, allowed her go back to that village? What if we had done this? What if we had done that? I would expect that ministry to say we are collaborating with psychologists to provide the family what they need. We are going into the community to educate them, because maybe genuinely this could be ignorance. It's not enough to just issue a statement condemning things. I mean, anyone can do that.
I mean, I don't know. I find it problematic, and I was thinking to myself yesterday when I was listening to Eyewitness News, Amnesty International, it was on the ground. I was asking myself, where was gender ministry? Why is gender ministry not on the ground? Why are we not hearing from them from Kafoba? They should be there. This is a major issue, and so as a nation, when we are able to sit in the comfort of our own zones and hashtag Black Lives Matter, which is very important, and we shouldn't downplay that. But when there are issues that are happening right here on our shores, in our spaces, in our communities, what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? And I think it's so important for us to see our duty bearers actively, proactively out there in the field working and working for the nation.
I completely agree. And speaking of gender issues, there's a 19-year-old girl who considered prostitution because her family they're under threat of potentially being homeless, and she tried a few entrepreneurial ventures, didn't work, and as I was talking to her, I was thinking to myself, at 19 I didn't have to go through that, so what kind of social systems do we even have in place for such young girls to even say, okay, I can be part of this program, be it learning a trade briefly before they go back to school, just to make some sort of stipend to help my family. But we'll take a look at that interview and then we'll continue the conversation. the ages between 18 to 19 is a period where young people reflect on what they want to do when they grow up, what their identity is, and what their place is in the world. But for 19-year-old Amma, this period has been very, very traumatic.
I lost my dad. I realized things got tough. But it's my mom who pays the fees, my kid sister, my brother, myself, hostel fees, food, and all that. I have to support my mom because she's working, she's a nurse. But when the whole incident came in, we didn't really have anyone to help. So she had to take loans to pay our fees, and we had to pay our fees, take care of us in the house. And she has barely 4 years to be done to retire, so she cannot take a loan again. But then currently we have to move out of the house because it belongs to my dad's brother. I tried stealing food and some other stuff, but it wasn't really moving. It wasn't booming. People were not buying. Some people buying, then they don't pay. So I considered this idea my friend gave to me about being a hookup girl as just a branded name for prostitution. So I sat back to think, because looking at the income I would get from it, I was like, if being with one person could at least earn me about 800 plus or more, then it will be okay. If I should do it just a one-time thing, it will be fun. It will be okay, because I could help. All I needed at that point was the money, because I remember the night before that I saw my mom crying in her room, and when I talked to her, it was so bad. So that was the last idea I had in mind. You would just have to make out or have sex with the person, and then you'll be paid from about 800, the lowest price of 800 to 1,005 or more. But then the person who told me to was like, she made it look like, there was one thing she said, she was like, even if I should get a job, I wouldn't earn that much. It's because 800 is someone's monthly salary, but I'm just earning it in a day, and I'm not really working so hard for it. I'm just supposed to do something little to get it. So at that point, I was like, why not try it? Because the offer was so good.
And you were not afraid of sleeping with a stranger for money?
I was afraid. I was afraid because I felt I was going against my own basic principles. But then sitting back to look at everything happen, I just thought it would be worth it.
What are your own basic principles?
Well, growing up, my dad always told me that once you have an intercourse with someone, it becomes a bond spiritually. So before I would have to have an intercourse with someone, it shouldn't be because of money or because of material things, but then it should be an agreement, and then I should be ready for it. Once I do it, everything that comes out from it, I should be able to accept the consequences.
What were you going to use the prostitution money for?
I was using it, I had intentions of giving part to my mom so that she could add up with the little she had, so we could get a place to stay. And then the other ones, I thought of investing it in a very nice business, maybe making my sales on a larger scale. Then I'll earn some profits, hopefully before school reopens. Then with that, I could also help to support her, to pay my fees, and then accommodation for school.
Like most teenagers, Mary has dreams and aspirations of becoming a therapist one day, Unlike most 19-year-olds, Mary now has to worry about her family possibly being homeless because they lost their dad, who was the breadwinner of the family. But Mary still needs our help to engage in any trade that will help her take care of her family financially. For City News, my name is Jifa Ametam.
Wow. Oh Lord, Jifa, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's tough. But it takes me back to many years ago, Legon campus, some of the stories I heard. At that time, being a student, it sounded almost like a myth, like urban legend, kind of thing. But to see this up close like this, it's tough. But it also speaks to our social structures. Mm-hmm. What do we have to shield and protect our own? Because it's your father's dead, your mother is challenged, looking after 3 of you. She has the best intentions for all of you, so she's hoping everybody can go through to university, to change your lot. But it's real. It's difficult. What were you going through while she was sharing her story?
So this entire coronavirus period, I've been very interested in stories relating to how young people are doing. If schools were to reopen, someone like her would probably sell sobolo on campus and make a decent amount of money to be fine. But now you find yourself at home. Your uncle might kick you guys out of the house any day now. Your mom is already in debt from trying to put all of you through school. And a colleague of yours proposes this idea to you that maybe for just a couple of hours you can make anywhere from 800 cities to 1,800 cities, 1,500 cities. Even if you are very principled, after being home for a couple of months with no money coming in, the fears of being homeless, you begin to consider some of these things.
Absolutely.
And she lives very, very far. So even coming from her town to Accra to do this interview cost her 30 cities just coming.
Whoa.
So I was even calculating it with her that if someone were to offer you a job in Accra right now, most of the
money
salary will go
on
to your transportation. So I think as a country we need to start conversations around social programs that are tailored towards helping young people like her. You go online, you finish your classes, you have a couple of hours. What skills can we nurture? Are you good at drawing? Are you good at braiding hair? Are you good at tailoring? This is the time where we need to, and this is not just the government's responsibility. Private companies can take this up as a corporate social responsibility, because our youth, the ages between anywhere from 7 to 18, 19, 20, you're very delicate. The kinds of people you come across can either shoot you up for whatever you're going to become as an adult or cut off your potential, because now you're thinking that your relationship with men has to be transactional. What role would that even have on your life moving forward?
And a lot of times it is, because what happens also is that we live in a kind of society where a lot of men, unfortunately, tend to be very transactional in their thinking, right? So it's like, what do I get for helping you? As a result of giving you access, what do I get? And sometimes even the access they are giving you is only because of where they find themselves in terms of position in the organization, right? It's not because they actually have real authority. It's just they happen to be standing at the door, so they can decide whether to open the door for you or not, But they don't actually have real authority in the place. But they use that place of privilege and position, to deny, or to then, in a case where somebody says, okay, you know what, I'll do whatever you want, and then they give access. And so it's very unfortunate. Remember the story of the nurse, and I think it was her boss at there was a Chips Compound story that came out a few weeks ago.
Who sexually harassed her.
Exactly, you know. I think there's a lot of that happens in our society, and I think that we need to expose these things a bit more, because the reality is that there are people who stand at a place where they can open doors, and they will always look to what they can get as a result of holding the door open for you to walk in. You know, and that's all they're doing. They're literally just a doormat in the organization. You know, I think that we need to understand that what goes around comes around, right? And that if you do help people, you're scheduling for yourself in your future help where you not even know how someone will come to your aid, you know. And so because you've helped somebody, you know, the way it works, someone will also hold a door open for you one day, you know. And I think it's important.
And I think we need to fight this issue of college students pimping each other out. We need to get that out of the universities, because for a lot of young people, the university is the time where you have freedom. You don't have your parents there. It's your first chapter. It's the first chapter to your adult life. So if you are sucked into the system of your classmates pimping you out and thinking it's normal because they can afford certain things that other kids cannot afford, you wouldn't even pay attention to your grades. You wouldn't even value your professors, because you're making more money at night than they'll probably make in a month. And life is not just about money. You have a purpose, you have talents, you have many doors that will open for you if you graduate with good grades. But if you allow all these material things distract you, you won't even get to see who you could have become if that had not happened. So I think part of the reason why we're telling the story also is for, you know, businesses out there that are looking to employ people. This young girl is so well spoken, so dedicated, really smart. Thankfully, she only considered it. She did not do it.
But clearly she's very principled as well.
Exactly, you know, but she's still unemployed, and she's looking for an opportunity to make a bit of money to help her mother out with the responsibilities. You know, so if anyone is watching us and you would want to help, just reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to connect you to her so that she'll find something. But I think beyond the individual cases, as a country, if we're going to talk about coronavirus, if we're going to talk about staying home, we need to address some of these issues that our young people are facing, which could traumatize them for life.
Yeah, absolutely. No, look, there's so many challenges that we go, and as we're talking, things are occurring to me, different experiences that I have had, friends of mine have had, and you'll be surprised that even young boys, young men, you know, in the university also get approached in the same way, you know, by other men who are older, who have positions of power and privilege, and older women too, you know, approaching young men. So all of these, there's so many dynamics of things going on here, but we've got to do news review.
Yes, we do. And we do have a packed show. Philip Kofi Ashon will be joining us at some point. What are we discussing in the world of technology?
Yes. So we're going to be discussing the issue of how to handle storage, your space, and so on and so forth. I think that it's a challenge for a lot of people, either on your phones, your tablets, your computers, and so on. Managing the space that you have. I think it's an important conversation for us to have, and you'll get some good tips there.
Well, if you have any questions for Phil, you know what to do. Use the hashtag Breakfast Daily and WhatsApp line 0550585832, and David will ask him when he joins us. Again, Hello, Mr. President is today. If you've not sent in your videos yet, just step out of your homes. Whatever problems you're observing in your community that you need policymakers to answer to, take out your phone and record an up to 1 minute video. We want the entire country to see what's going on in your community. The email to send that to is hellomrpresidenttv@gmail.com, and our WhatsApp line is 0550585832. Send those videos and we will play them every Wednesday at 9:30 on Breakfast Daily. Well, thank you guys so much for staying with us. My name is Jifa Ikea Ametam.
And I'm David Kwekusechi.
News reviews next. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
There is no promise we cannot keep. There is no commitment we cannot honor. There is no delivery we cannot guarantee. There is only one Bethel Logistics Company Limited, a licensed international freight forwarding and clearing agent, a trusted global brand with an extensive network for the movement of air freight and ocean freight worldwide. We are the trusted name for road freight into Western and Northern Africa. We are fully accredited by Ghana Customs and Excise. We cater for all your freight forwarding, customs clearing and forwarding, cross trades, inland transportation, internal cargo tracking systems, customer freight costing and consultancy, cold chain logistics management, logistics and warehousing, quality inspection, and much more. In Accra, Tema, and Takrady, we are always available to ensure easy movement of cargo countrywide. Call us on 0204 528 900 or 0244 707 859. Email info@bethellogistics.com. Locate us in Accra at North Ridge, adjacent Accra Girls High School, or in Tema at Community 4, or in Takrady on the second floor of the GCB building. Website bethellogistics.com. Bethelog, experts in shipping logistics.
Welcome back. This is still Breakfast Daily on CCTV. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll take a look at our newspaper headlines, then some online stories, and then we'll introduce our guest who are already seated here with us. Let's start off with the Daily Graphic. On the front page of the Daily Graphic, we have lynching of 90-year-old woman. Kafaba chief arrested. 13 others on the run. President describes action as barbaric. That story is on page 3. Now we'll go on to look at our other newspapers. The Ghanaian Times, on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, we have 78 Volta region markets, lorry parks, others disinfected amid COVID-19. That story is on page 11. President condemns lynching of 90-year-old woman at Kafaba. That story is on page 12. Hepatitis B birth dose shortage hits country. 147,000 newborns likely to be affected. That story is on page 13. We'll now take a look at the Chronicle. DCE defies presidential order. Galamsey is our source of livelihood. Stories on pages 2 and 3 of the Chronicle. I'll make good case for John and Jane ticket, Professor Opoku Ajeman. Finally, we'll take a look at the Finder. The Finder has it here. Mahama's track record in office, abysmal. That's coming from Dr. Baumia, and that story is on page 5. Financial Services Authority among Mahama's 10 campaign promises. That story is on page 5. Ghana Health Service to publish outcome of hydroxychloroquine use on COVID-19 patients. That story is on page 4. Finally, Nalerigu gets 4.9 million Ghana cedi water project. President admonishes residents to protect water bodies. That story is on page 2 of the Finder. Now we will take a look at some online stories. On citynewsroom.com, we have concerned drivers union unhappy with directives to reduce transport fares. Concerned drivers union unhappy with decision to reduce transport fares. Government of Ghana must protect us from Guta. Nigerian traders are saying that. Voting for NDC means severe economic hardship. That's coming from Gideon Bako to Ghanaians. 2020 polls will be about performance in government, not promises. That's coming from Dr. Baumia. Flight to Wa Airport suspended over low passengers. COVID-19. That's coming from Aviation Minister. We'll now take a look at some business news from citybusinessnews.com. We deserve protection. Our lives matter. Nigerian retailers in Ghana cry out. BOG to build additional reserves to deal with cedi depreciation. We also need free water supply. Ghana Hotels Association to government. So it seems as though some businesses are asking for free water supply in this COVID-19 period. Flight services to Wa Airport on hold due to dwindling passenger numbers. That's coming from ADA. Disburse stimulus package quickly. Ghana Tourism Federation urges government. Locks, okay, we'll now take a look at some more local news from myjoyonline.com. Locks to Auditor General Domlevo office changed while he is on leave. It's a really interesting story there. We'll now take a look at some global news from bbc.com. My Tanzanian family is split over coronavirus. Of course, you can get all of your news from citynewsroom.com, all of your business news from citybusinessnews.com. Now it's an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. If you're on Facebook, please comment down below. If you're on other social media platforms, our hashtag is Breakfast Daily. And if you want to reach us directly, our WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana and you would still like to contribute to the conversation, the country code is +233. I've been joined by Joyce Zempari, who's the Deputy National Communications Director of the NPP. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
God's grace, we're doing well. Yourself?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being with us.
It's my pleasure to be here once again.
I also have with me Jean Marie Formadi, who is a National Communications Team Member of the NDC. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you too?
Thank you so much for being with us. Now, a few days ago was a very big day for the NDC. I mean, the country got to hear from Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman. How was that experience like for you?
It was so exciting, so relieving. You know, let me first of all say good morning to our viewer out there, and then give a big salute to His Excellency, the incoming President John Dramani Mahama, and his running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. The day was so exciting, so refreshing to Ghanaians, not me alone, to all women, the youth, the vulnerable, and everybody in Ghana here. Ghana, in fact, it was, will I say, a bright day in Ghana when she was officially outdoored to Ghanaians as the running mate to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Okay, so not only did the country get to hear from the running mate, we also got to hear from the flag bearer, and the former president John Dramani Mahama said a lot of things that Baumia is responding to. Baumia, of course, is the current vice president of the country. So I'm reading from citynewsroom.com. It says 2020 polls will be about performance in government, not promises. So Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia has responded to former President John Dramani Mahama over recent promises made by the latter. while outdoing his running mate ahead of the 2020 polls on Monday, 27, 2020, John Mahama, who is also the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, among other things, promised to pay all persons whose monies have been locked up following the revocation of licenses of some financial institutions in the country. He said the payment will be made within his first year should he be given the nod in the elections. I'm going to quote what former President Mahama said. I pledge on behalf of the NDC that we shall, within 1 year of being in office, pay all funds that have been locked up with the collapsed financial institutions. Within our first year in office, we shall pay all the beneficiaries, all locked up funds in the collapsed financial institutions, and it's a promise. We shall not put together any long-term payment plan that will further worsen the living conditions of the victims. He also promised to set up a financial service authority to forestall any further banking sector crisis. John Mahama also took a swipe at the governing New Patriotic Party, saying Akufo-Addo's tenure has been characterized by corruption, nepotism, job losses, among others. Meanwhile, Dr. Bawumia yesterday released a write-up, and I'm going to read a few of the excerpts from the write-up. He says, the choice Ghanaians face on December 7th is between John Mahama and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Thankfully, both of them have records. John Mahama was vice president and president for 8 years, and Nana Akufo-Addo has been president for 3.5 years. It is not about what you say in opposition. It is about what you did in government. What matters ultimately to Ghanaians is how these two leaders were able to manage the economy and alleviate the suffering of people when they were given the opportunity to serve. He goes on to say, on the basis of the performance record, the leadership of this country by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has resulted in much better outcomes than the disastrous outcome under the leadership of John Mahama. Going forward, we can continue to trust and rely on Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's strong and compassionate leadership in the next 4 years. So I'll start with you, Joyce. The former president is promising Ghanaians, especially those who have been affected by the banking sector crisis, that when NDC comes back to power, they will sort us out. Why is the vice president responded in this way, saying, well, we both have track records, so let's stop with the promises?
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to our cherished viewers. And then let me extend my facilitation to the President of the Republic. I know he's in the savannah, he'll be going to the Gonja land. I pray that the good Lord will continue to guide his steps. He that has called him at this hour to serve this country, to glorify him, will continue to give him the idea, the wisdom to do as he has been called upon. The Vice President, who is back here also taking care of other, and all those in government, Ghanaians, and then the opposition as large. We pray that the good Lord will keep us together, even in these difficult times, for us to see come 7th December. Okay. Why are you laughing? Is it because of my religious decision this morning?
Oh, no. I mean, what did you make of the official outdooring of the running mates and some of the things that the former president said?
Better late than never. It was one thing when the NDC went to the polls for their presidential race. People were expecting, because we know as political parties, especially when you are in a position, the duration of selecting your candidate and your running mate to kickstart your work. And then when you are in government, the time frame for you to do the selection of these two important personalities too. Now I would say it has landed. That was on Monday. We witnessed the outdooring of Professor Nana. We welcome her to the field. We welcome her to the presidential race. Well, let me say, as a woman, let me congratulate her. But we all know the hue and cry, the fanfare about it. Maybe somebody will say, oh, because it's the largest opposition party.
But that's a big deal.
Hold it. Pakwesi selected a woman. We even have Ekuyadonko, as a presidential candidate. We had Nana Kunedwa Jimai Rawlings, who contested their presidential race. What she went through.
But now we have a vice presidential candidate in the largest opposition party in the history of this country. Isn't that a big deal?
Oh, look, it is something that was expected.
Oh, really?
Come what, of course. Come what may, you know. And MPP had its own challenge when in 2008 Nanado wanted to select a woman, you know.
Yeah.
It's not nothing that's hidden under the carpet. So it was expected. And I'm saying, look, come 2024, and I won't be surprised to see a female presidential candidate among these two largest parties.
Okay.
I'll not be surprised. Gradually, we are getting there. Gone were the days when women were far from getting to this fold. We are getting there.
So you're proud that the opposition party has at least...
I said it's good news.
Okay.
It's good news.
What does this mean for the race? I mean, now you have a lot of women seeing themselves.
People are trying to, I won't say people, the NDC is trying to let it look like the race is between their running mates and our presidential candidate. No. It is between, like the vice president said, a former president and a certain president. And let me take you down memory lane. 2016, 2015, when Nanado, then candidate, was out there, and like Dr. Baumia said, if you've not been to the office, if you've not occupied the good office before, then you say, these are the things, those are what you call promises that I'm bringing when you give me the try, when you give me the nod. Now you've all been there, so it is about your records. What you did when you were there and what you are doing currently. Those are the comparative things that people are going to measure. At least we have something to put on the measuring scale to weigh and see which among them is the best. You remember the former president telling Nanado that, oh, he's not been there, so he should stop promising and stop criticizing him. Today he's been there, so they can all come to the table.
Yeah, but the former president is making a lot of allegations. He's saying he's accusing the current administration of corruption, nepotism, job losses, you know.
I'm going to handle all those things.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just set the ball rolling.
Okay.
So I know we're working on the time, so don't worry. Now, what is it that he's talking about? And like Dr. Mahmoud Baumia said, it's going to be on records. If I say corruption, yes, we're going to put it out on the table and break even and see which government. I'm not saying this government, like we said, it's angelic, this thing. Come with it, but we're going to assess, we're going to judge, we're going to debate on the issues to see the worst corrupt government in the Fourth Republican dispensation. It's going to be out there. He's talking about job losses. Come on. Come on. Where has the former president been all this while? His time, 3.5 years. Doomso. Is he telling me he was not aware the number of job losses? The number of deaths. Look, Doomso killed people even more than this pandemic, coronavirus pandemic.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Do you have a source?
Let me just give you some few. Okay. Now, currently, we have about 20. There's a 200 death, or is it 100 and something death?
Yeah, almost getting there.
Let me give you, you know, of the fire outbreak generator that killed the whole family of about 5 or so. Do you know about another people who died on their dialysis in Kolebu and other places?
Well, these are all allegations because we
they are not. They were there. Please, please. Let me just Google and let's go back and then see.
No,
so
he also accused the government of nepotism. So address that issue as well. And then
nepotism. I said there's nothing. Look, he has nothing to say, and the records are there. We'll come back one after the other. You know, I wanted to address more of the job losses.
No, let's
you understand? So he should not. He's the last person to even talk about that.
But now,
look, there were people. There was a ban on employment. We had nurses, teachers who had graduated and they were home. He never employed them. Okay. There were people who had finished school. Was it not his time that they formed this unemployed graduates association?
But there are still people unemployed, right?
Oh, of course. There will always be people unemployed. But you ask yourself, what is the ratio? What is the magnitude of unemployment? Even in the developed countries, they still have unemployed people on the streets.
So unemployment was not unique to Mahama then?
Look, it is about the way you manage the country, and it's about the way you propagate that message out there. Okay. You let it look like it's under Nanadu. Look, I say, his case was worse. He intentionally created that circumstances.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go to Jean Marie now. George Bawa is saying, just like Vice President Baumia is saying, that this election will not be about promises, it will be about the track record of the two candidates. What do you say?
In fact, the least even talk about Baumia, the better.
Why?
When we talk about promises and disappointments, failed promises in Ghana here, Baumia shouldn't be seen talking about failed promises. Because one, NDC analyzed the performance of NPPs a few weeks ago. Out of the over 600 promises, they have achieved only 14%.
Really?
Yes.
What basis did you use to come about that percentage? Like, what were the factors, variables?
Yes. When you promise 600, you promise Ghanaians with 600 projects and
one district, one factory, one village, one dam. You are saying that all those promises they need free SHS.
That's what they always say.
Yeah, but students we do have free SHS, don't we?
We are not saying they have not done anything out of the 600. The percentage of the promises they have achieved is 14% out of the 600.
Okay.
Fine. The one district, one factory. How many factories do we have in Ghana here? We have 275 constituencies. They have districts. And they are promising one district, one factory. I am from Biakoya constituency. I have not seen a single factory in my constituency.
No, maybe it's in the pipeline.
Oh, after 4 years, this is the 4th year. We are left with about 4 months to the end of the year, and still nothing. Before I get to my constituency, I pass through, Krobo, Somanya.
Yes.
Sometimes I use the soda. I would say that is the what's the name? The Lower Manya constituency, I pass through there. Esujamine, I pass through Esujamine. I go through South Dine. That's the Peki area. I pass through North Dine.
So you pass through a lot of districts.
I go through Pando before I get to Biakonye. And beyond, I pass through Krachi East, which is the regional capital of OT. There is no factory there. I've gone around a lot of places and I've not seen a single factory.
Okay.
So comparatively, they have not. They have not.
But you can't use your personal experience to say 14% complete.
What I'm saying is that even where I have witnessed that I can give evidence, this is it. Okay. And when you go to other places, when you analyze other constituencies, other districts, nothing has gone on.
Okay, what about the ambulances? We have the ambulances now.
President John Dramani Mahama brought ambulances, but we didn't make fanfare of it.
Okay.
It was evident when you go to Kolebu, the ambulance, some of the ambulances he brought was left there to rot. Because of change of government, they didn't want to give it out for people to see that President Mahama has given out.
They said the ambulances were empty.
They left it there. No, when we are putting up a project, and we are not done with it, and we lose power, what do you expect? The next government, you shouldn't leave it to rot because Ghanaians need ambulances. So if you should buy ambulances for Ghanaians, you've not done anything.
But they said it was not fit for purpose. The ones that.
So what do you have to do? The ones that Mahama brought, why was it not fit for the purpose?
Because it was empty. There was nothing.
How empty was it? Let me even put the ambulances issue aside. All the promises that
they said free SHS.
But if you have done free SHS, which the policy was not even thought through, because look at what the children even passed through. Some were sleeping on the floor. Their things were packed outside, and the conditions under which they went to the school was not. I mean,
but they were still sleeping on the floor under Mahama, no?
If you said free SHS, look at the, you said they were sleeping on the floor under Mahama. The number of students that are supposed to be in the school at a particular point in time, where that is why Mahama, being a visionary leader, said that, let me build more schools.
Okay.
Let me build more schools. You say they always take a hasty decision. Under President Kufuor, they took SHS to 4 years, which they didn't plan for. So when Mills came, he has to build more infrastructure to absorb the students. That is why President Mahama said that we have to do progressively free by building more schools as we expand. So he even gave the students were not paying full fees. The boarders were paying about 50%, and the day students were paying 50 cedis a time, progressively free. So that by the time they are done with their school buildings and all that, the infrastructure, the children, they can now roll out the free education. So if you have done it hastily, without planning, fine, it has started. It's a process. We are not faulting them that there is no, they can't do free. They have done it, but they didn't do it well. Which Mahama is ready to come and then put things in their right perspective. That notwithstanding, when we talk about nepotism and all that, Mahama is right. It's the NPP government has become family and friends, which is evident. Everything you say about Andy, they will tell you that Mahama gave project to the brother. Mahama gave project to the brother. Now under Nana Akufo-Addo, we can talk about the brother, the daughter, the baby mamas, and a whole lot of, in government, which they don't have the right to talk when NDC is saying all these things. What NDC is promising Ghanaians is that when Mahama is brought into power, come December 2020, all the failed promises that MPP came to achieve only 14%. Everything that we have promised.
What's the study? What's the research you can cite to say that, okay, this body, this independent body did this research and found that this is what they arrived to? Because if you can't cite that, we can't really place any merit on that.
NDC doesn't mean that it is not independent. Because Ghanaian can go to the grounds to find out whether
what we are. Have you published this report so that maybe we can all read? Is it out in the public yet?
We've not published it, but we did a press conference. We put all the documents out there that you can easily Google and get access to cross-check. So Ghanaians can go out there and check all these records and it's not,
So you're saying 86% of what they said they've not done?
They've not done it. They were claiming they have done 94%.
Okay.
And Jifa, you are in Ghana here. I know you are a host. So you would think people will say that you are siding with somebody.
So let's not go there.
So, which you know as a fact that NPP has not done 94% of their promises. You know.
I also can say for a fact that they've done only 14% of their promises.
But you know that they've not done 90.
Yes, but Joyce is saying that you cannot talk about Ghana's development during Mahama's tenure without looking at the effect Dunso had on people. What's your response to that?
Even this pandemic, Dr. Bawumia was comparing it to Dunso in this serious pandemic.
But Dunso was also very serious, then a lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of businesses closed down.
The jobs that Ghanaians have lost, even without Dunso, is more than, it was a problem that President Mahama was solving. That is the Dunso issue. During the 8 years administration of President Kufuor, they didn't add a single bite to the energy sector, which they were advised that if that is not done in the near future, because of expansion, people are creating more jobs that they need electricity. That is why when we came to power, the backlog that was left under Kufuor for 8 years, President Mahama tried to solve it once and for all, not just holding it half and half. So he decided to put in place things that will generate more power so that the problem will be solved once and for all. That is why we went through that Dunso. You understand my point? That's why we went through that Dunso.
So MPP is to be blamed for Dunso, not NDC?
Because we came to solve it.
Okay, but when you come into power, you take the assets and liabilities of the former administration.
Yes.
So
when we came, there were no complaints because we know that yes, Ghanaians know they were not doing well. That is why they handed over the baton to the NDC. So what we have to do is to put things
in order,
okay, which President Mahama did. As they have come, MPP is in power now. They have not added any single megabyte to our grid.
Yeah.
So what are they talking about?
Okay.
Mahama has fixed the problem, which he promised to fix, and he has fixed. And now he's promising Ghanaians that when he comes, the job loss. Look at the banks that have collapsed. Look at the FM and stations that were collapsed. Look at people's monies that they have invested in the banks and they cannot even access it to even do other jobs, other businesses. Now training colleges, which we have 10. First, you have a set A. I left training college in 99. During my 10, when you complete, you hold a set A. Now, it is a tertiary institution. That is the work of the visionary leader called JM. Now, training college, when you say we have a lot of schools.
We have to
and we need teachers, yes. Let me quickly conclude. We need more teachers at every point in time. There are villages who don't, even cities where they don't have teachers. Now, President Akufo-Addo has restricted the teachers so much that I would say that there is lots of jobs there, because when you complete school, you cannot easily get to the classroom and teach, which is what was not like that previously. Now you have to write a licensure exam, do a national service, and then you apply for a job before you are recruited as a teacher, which was not like that.
Okay, we'll go for a break now. On July 11th, transportation fees went up by 15%. We were told yesterday that they'll go down to 10%, but some transport operators are not happy with that announcement. We'll be taking a look at that story right after these messages.
Thank you, sir. Hello, my name is Samuel Ofori, a film actor and a film director. Because of the nature of my job, the taste for quality things is endless. Quality phones, quality laptops, quality TV sets. Let me show you my secret. Here is Franco Trading Enterprise. My secret for quality laptops, quality phones, quality TV sets, accessories, come on. External hard drive, pen drive, name it. For bulk purchase and retails, come to Franco Trading Enterprise. They will reduce the price for you. Franco Trading Enterprise. Home quality.
Welcome back. This is still Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Again, it's an interactive show. So if you're watching us on Facebook, just comment down below. We would love to hear from you. If you're on other social media platforms, the hashtag to use is Breakfast Daily. And if you want to reach us directly, our WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. I still have with me Jean Marie Fomadi, who's a National Communications Team member of the NDC, as well as Joyce Zempare, who's a Deputy National Communications Director of the NDC, MPP. Before the break, Jean Marie said a lot of things that, she's accusing the NPP of, and saying that power crisis, for example, MPP caused it, NDC just came to solve it. Your quick response, and then we'll move to the transportation sector.
I understand my sister the way she was struggling to make a case, but it's understandable anyway. What did she say? We caused the doomsday. Really? Doomsday? Let's ask ourselves, under the late Professor Mills, did we encounter any doomsday? It was the mid-term of John Mahama's presidency, or let me say the early stages of John Mahama's presidency, because he traveled for almost 3.5 years. So she should tell me. And NPP had always stand by our words that look, it was not about additional plants, but it was generational problem. They were not raising the funds. We had so much that Ghana could have produced electricity and still export some. That was the argument. And we should look, as at that time, Ghana's generation system was about 3,000 megawatts. And we needed just 2,700, I stand to because it was about 2,000 plus for our national use. So look, even if we're able to produce just 3,000, that means we're going to produce above capacity to give out. So it was not just that, look, there was no means, and for that matter, you only need to add on when there was no need. Generate the one that you have until you've been convinced. The statistics have shown that, look, we still need to add on. Who said we are not going to add on? But you start with what you want. But if you fail all that, the death, the word, and the lies they propagated, at one point, they said, when we were saying that, look, you were owing Nigerian gas, pay them so that they'll supply us. That's not, that was not true. It came out as factual. So what's she saying?
Okay. We do have to move on. We do have to move on to the transportation sector. We start off because if I let you go, she will also continue, and we won't get to the transport sector. So again, before the break, I was telling you guys that on July 11th, transportation fares went up by 15%. Yesterday, we were informed that they'll go down by 10% effective August 1st. However, some drivers are not happy about that announcement at all. So I'm reading from citynewsroom.com. It says, concerned drivers union unhappy with directive to reduce transport fares. Leadership of the Concerned Drivers Union is unhappy with the latest directive to reduce transport fares by 10%. The drop meant fare price have increased by 5% in the aggregate since the COVID-19 pandemic struck. We are not in support of the 5% left for us, the union's vice chairman, David Agbodu, said on City News. According to the union, the new percentage will negatively impact their business. The group had earlier increased fares by 30% in clear disregard for the 15% approved by the government. The latest drop came after President announced that commercial vehicles could now take full capacity. Transport fares increased by 15%. I said that again in July because operators were struggling with the cap on passengers because of the social distancing brought on by COVID-19. So I'll start with you on this one, Jean-Marie, because the passengers were complaining. A lot of people have lost their jobs. We don't have enough disposable income. Some of the transport operators were charging anywhere from 15% to 30%. Now they've been informed that the prices that were 15% will be dropped to 10%, and they are not dropped by 10%, so they will actually get 5%, and they are not happy with that at all.
Yeah, sure. The transport system is such that, especially the commercial drivers, by the way they operate, they use a lot of fuel.
Yeah.
Yes, and looking at the hike in fuel prices, in fact, I side with them. The 10% drop will affect their job because, one, fuel has been increased in this pandemic. They need to use a lot of money, to invest a lot of money in buying fuel to operate the vehicle. So if there is a drop in transportation, how are they going to make that profit? I don't think they're asking for a profit that is not reasonable.
But now we've eased the restrictions on social distancing, so then they should make more money than they increased. Yes, but they will still make more money than they were in previous months when they had to take less passengers.
If the fuel has not been increased, they would have made that money. But now
and fuel prices have actually dropped. They've not increased. So
dropped when?
They've actually dropped. They are not
Since
high.
When?
For a while
prices, no. During when the COVID-19 came fresh, government at a point reduced the fuel a bit.
Yes.
Now it has been increased again.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well, double check that, because what I know is that fuel prices have actually not increased.
It has been increased because when you go to the fuel pumps, the prices have increased.
Okay.
In, I think, April, May, thereabouts, it was reduced. But it has been increased again. And the drivers are struggling to get money to buy fuel to fuel their cars. So if government want the drivers to reduce the prices, government should also support the drivers by decreasing the prices of fuel, so that there will be a fair play there. But other than that, you increase fuel prices and ask them to decrease their, at least, fair play. Government should take 5%, and then they take 10%. It's 15, right? So if government is saying that they should decrease it by 10%, I think that 5% will do, because fuel prices have not decreased. It has actually been increased. For some few weeks now, they have increased fuel prices.
So, because COPEC was here, and I mean, before COVID, we were operating at 5.5 Ghana cedis per liter, but right now it's 4.9 Ghana cedis. So
now, when you go to
that
the
shows
pumps,
like a clear decrease when you go to the pumps.
When you go to the pumps and you check the prices, sometimes it used to be 4.2, 4.3.
Yeah, because
now
Duncan Amo of COPEC was actually here yesterday. He did not say that.
But
we'll just go on.
That is COPEC. But when you go to the pump, they've increased it to 4.8 plus.
Okay, but that's still less than the 5.5 that we had in the beginning of the COVID season. So it's actually gone down.
But still, it is on. They have increased it.
Okay, that's fine.
They have still.
What do we do about the passengers?
And now the passengers
who
most
have
of
already
them
lost their jobs, they don't have enough disposable income, are relying on these, forms of transportation to get from point A to point B. If we're charging them 15%, 20, 30%, how are they supposed to survive?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that the government should reduce the fuel prices to balance.
Okay, so government should subsidize them in a way. Okay,
so that it will get balanced, because if they are supposed to reduce it, because like you rightly said, the passengers are struggling to even board vehicles to the markets and all that. So if government, if you think about
the sector,
yes, they should reduce the fuel so that at least the drivers will also get something. As they reduce the fares, for passengers to also make some money. Because right now most of them have lost their jobs and they are struggling.
Won't you say government meeting them halfway is government actually taking the restrictions off so they can now have more passengers and make more money than they were prior to when the restrictions were put in place somewhere in March?
They used to have full passengers on board.
Yes.
And the drivers are supposed to increase prices of their the fares when fuel is increased by 15%.
Yes.
That is the only time. But a situation whereby the government will only increase the fuel by 2%, the next week by 3%, the next week by 4%, and at the end of the day, it's more than 15%. But they were not able to increase the fares because there has not been a 15% increment. But at the end of the day, if you add up the 2, 3, 5, 10%, it will be more than 15%.
We'll agree to disagree on the fuel argument.
Yes, so by so doing, that's what I'm saying, that even though they are taking full passengers on board now, because of that, they are still struggling.
Okay, so they
for
should
that
be
matter,
subsidized.
Government should subsidize it so that they can also reduce it for passengers to also have some free, at least to be able to make something out of that, because it's difficult sometimes for people to transport themselves to work and back at the end of the day, while they are not earning what they were earning
before coronavirus. Thank you very much, Jean Marie. So Joyce Zampare, Jean is proposing that instead of reducing the prices by 10%, government should have at least subsidized that sector by 5%.
Well, let me take you back to June. As of June 2019, fuel price was 5.19, almost, let me say 5.2. And what is the current pump price? The current pump price stands at 4.98. That's what I have here. Now, between March and April, our drivers enjoy some reduction in fuel prices. It was about 3 times or was it 4 times that they did enjoy it. We all know of the crisis we've been through, which we are still in, though, with this pandemic, where we think physical and social distances should be adhered to, and for that matter, the directive for them to also understand that we are all each other's keeper. So we all need to contribute to the building of the nation. We all need to contribute in the fight against this pandemic. That is why there were restrictions, there were closure of churches and mosques, there were closure of a lot of businesses and things. That is why institutions had to cut down size of people who go to. In fact, and as we speak, people are still doing that. You know, there's been a measure to make sure that workers, oh, I've forgotten the word, it will come. You understand?
Yeah.
So these are things that we're all doing in the fight against this pandemic.
So some people are taking stipend instead of salaries, for
sure,
instance.
some are taking half salary, some,
yes.
In fact, you understand?
Yes.
There's been so much.
But if the government can provide free water, subsidize electricity, why can't we do that to the transportation sector? Because a lot of the drivers don't even own the cars. So can't we empathize with them a bit?
Hold it. You know, there's been other things that came on board. At least their insurance issue came up, their roadworthiness and things came up. And of course, a government should take up all those things. I think he's also doing something, at least to support you. You understand? This is a give and take affair. It is not about win-win or you win some. Going to the negotiation, you should be prepared to also share some things. If government should say, okay, let me give all this to the drivers, are you sure others will not also stand up? Because today, as we speak, the tourism industries, like you read, are also talking about respite and other things that they all need. Genuinely, we all need our concerns to be raised. But when you were given the opportunity, even within the pandemic, when the fuel prices came down, they did not reduce, did they?
No.
They did not. So what do you do? That is business management.
Comply by the social distancing directive.
We understand. So like we were saying that, look, comply by the social distancing, when the price were reduced, we understand that you need to make up to whatever your losses are. And that is why passengers and government did not complain that, look, we have reduced prices on fuel, so reduce it for our people. We know they need to mitigate whatever their losses were. And for that matter, they were given that freedom to continue charging what they were charging. At least, like I'm saying, this is just a plea to them. Why can't we all give out a little to support our people? Government is not saying, look, I'm scrapping all the increment that you people are calling for because now you are loading full capacity. But look, take this little off. I believe what leadership of the transport union should go back and say, look, okay, even if we adhere to this, these are the other things that we also need you to bring on board to assist us for us to make up what our losses are. But when we take entrenched positions because, no, this is what we want to do, no, this is because I will be at the losing end, that is not fair.
Okay.
That is not fair.
Okay. Thank you. We'll take a look at our final story here. I think we both agree on this sector. Again, it's an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. Use the hashtag BreakfastDaily for us to hear what you're thinking, and the WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. We'll now take a look at our final story, and I'm reading from citynewsroom.com. It says here, police arrest Kafaba chief days after lynching of 90-year-old woman. And of course, this has to do with the sad death of Ekia Dente. The Savannah Regional Police Command has arrested the chief of Kafaba, Zakaria Yahaya, over the lynching of 90-year-old Ekia Dente. According to the regional commander, DCOP Enoch Educhum Bediakon, the chief was picked up around 10 a.m. and sent to the Salaga police station for interrogation. Going to quote what the DCOP said. We're interrogating him to know the side of his story, and after that we will see the outcome. Apart from him, no arrests have been made, but with the arrest of the chief, I know he will assist police for us to get the other suspects. There have been calls for the arrest of the chief by the family of the victim. The family maintains that the chief had some knowledge of the activities of the soothsayer who signaled Ekia Dente out with witchcraft claims. The son of the victim, Dominic Mahama Saka, said the chief failed to take any action when they reported the issue to him. I'm going to quote what the son said. After her death, when the family went back to the chief, Dominic Saka claimed that the chief said that it is the will of God. The soothsayer is wanted by police alongside 2 others. Dominic Saka said that the woman had raided Ekuadente's home 2 times before the day she was lynched on Thursday, July 23rd. So, of course, there's a bounty of 2,000 on the perpetrators if anyone knows where they are, and there's a video that has gone viral. So I'll start with you on this story, Jean Marie, of the Ekuadente's sad demise and the chief being arrested, what that could mean for the community.
May her soul rest in peace. And my deepest condolences to the family and Ghana and women. In fact, when I saw the thing, I couldn't watch the video. First, I thought it was some scam or something. I didn't believe it, or maybe not Ghana, because the Ghanaians I know are so hospitable, and no, that's to a woman. I don't know. I couldn't believe the whole story. It's a very sad situation, and then I think that those who did that to the woman should bow their heads in shame. And I'm so much thankful that the people, including well-meaning Ghanaians, have come out to support the fact that the police should arrest the perpetrators of this. In fact, I don't even know how to describe it, because a poor woman, a 90-year-old woman, I believe, who has taken care of herself, to be 90 is not easy. Even at 40, look at the ailments now you go through and all that. For her to be able to take care of herself to 90 years, in fact, I don't know.
How do we ensure that this doesn't happen again?
When the perpetrators are brought to book, it will send a signal to anybody who have that in mind. And I don't think they will even do it again. In fact, I can't believe it. In this modern world, I don't know where that thing is coming from. Are they saying that the whole town, she's the only witch in the village?
Well, apparently they've done it to other women.
In the town?
Yes, it's something they do. They identify you, bring your Quran, put something on your forehead, and abuse you because you are allegedly a witch.
It is sad, but I think we have people that hail from that village that should stand up for, I don't know, women and the vulnerable who go through such situations. I think we should look out for people from there that are, who were quiet over this issue until now. Thank God for social media. Wouldn't have known that things like that are still happening. Like you said, it has been happening before and nobody says anything about it. I think this is the time that the police should investigate the arrest of the chief. Yes, it is his town, and per our tradition, the chief is responsible for all, like, it's in charge of the town. So if he's arrested, he should know the people who committed the act, and then maybe help in the investigations to get them to the police. And I believe the chief's family will also not be happy that the chief is in custody. So they will also help in the investigation to bring the perpetrators to book. In fact, it was a sad day for Ghana. It was a very sad day for Ghana to see that poor woman. I think, I don't know what has come over them to go this far. You know, when people grow to a certain level, even during your menopause, your system changes, your attitude, your behavior, and everything changes. And as you grow, most people start behaving like kids, and they can even.
But being a witch is not even a crime, actually, and so
there is no evidence of the fact that she has bewitched anybody. Which I think, because there is no evidence. That is a spiritual thing. And then you cannot give any concrete evidence of anything she has done against anybody in the village. So where did she go wrong? Why did she go wrong? What has she done wrong to,
deserve that?
To deserve this act? I think, I plead, the police shouldn't allow the perpetrators to go free. They should do everything possible to get them arrested, and then the issue investigated for the right thing to that, so that to send a signal to anybody who have the slight idea of even doing such a thing, to put a stop to it. That, I think, will help to curb this situation. And I don't even think the chief with how far his name has gone and what is happening now, he will even let that thing happen in that town again. If it is something that they have been doing, then I think it's high time they stop. For all you know, the actual witches are living there and nobody has touched them, and the innocent ones are being molested and then
and I mean, actual witches are still, you know, deserve their human rights. There's no justification for mob justice, period. Exactly. You know, and I think it's sad that happened. But Joyce, what do you make of this story?
My voice to my sister, to express my condolences to the family, the bereaved family, the township, Ghanaian, and women as a whole. It's an occurrence thing. There's no news. Just about 3 weeks ago, I saw another video going viral of a woman being stripped naked in a village like that, somewhere in the Bono area. Yes, it also it's between 3 weeks and a month, where the soothsayer was attacking the woman. There was a village, a whole place, that she has bewitched her children and those things. So I only had to look. It had to take one person to effect change. It has to take one person for laws to be instituted. So as much as we sympathize, we empathize with the family, it's for a good cause, for the good book's sake. Everything that happens for its goodness. These are things that has been happening behind the scenes. A whole lot has happened in especially rural areas, and when you go up our place in the north, it does happen. Why do we have the witch camp? Why do we have the Gambaga witch camp? Why do we have, you know, they are there.
What's the role of the gender ministry in all of this? If these things are there and we've grown to see them as normal.
I know.
Vulnerable women are being targeted in this country.
The gender ministry alone cannot do its work.
Have they done enough from your estimation?
All it, mine is, we need to go back and meet them. That's one very important thing that we as women must also find out from them. What has been the education, what has been the sensitization on these issues in various communities? You understand? I had worked with Haji Alima Mahama at the gender ministry then. That was when we tried, and you know, they've closed down 2 of the Gambaga women. It was there with 1. And the last time I went there, it was still there, but there were few women. They're trying to integrate them into family. You know, when they bring them out like that, integration, rehabilitating them to their communities become a problem. It is a very major problem that we need to tackle as a whole. So we need to go back and find out from the gender ministry, which is the right course for them to know, because we need to bring our women. We need to. Why is it that it's only women who are brought up as witches, especially aging women? So I'm scared. I've gone past 50. Yes.
We'll protect you, don't worry.
No, you see, it's not about me. I understand, I can say, but I empathize with my colleague women in other rural areas who, unfortunately, children may not be making up so well in life. There are 1 or 2 issues in family. Then they start looking at you and say, hey, you are the witch. And also, it's not only about the soothsayers. Our acclaimed men of God, our acclaimed imams, religion is what is destroying us. But those are some of the things we need to fight.
What do we do about it?
Because people go to churches and they come back and they say, look, the man of God has told me it is my mother. I was talking to a lady yesterday. She was having some marital this thing. And now she could say, oh, Auntie Joy, stop. I'm told it is my auntie. How? Who says so?
Joyce, what do we do about the bystander effect? Because when you watch the video, hundreds of people looked on and did absolutely nothing. One person could have just come out to save that woman's life.
You see, it is about what has been instilled in them, the tradition, the practices, the norms that has generated for long.
Because they cheered those women on, and they should equally be arrested.
That has been there for so long. It has become part of their culture. It has been instilled in them to know that, look, a soothsayer can just walk in, a man of God can just walk in and pinpoint, and everybody around will say, yes, we have been looking for that which within around us, and here somebody has come to name or pull out that person. Doing anything today, it is educating the people. It is building the confidence, the mindset. You see, when people begin to change their mindset, their way of thinking, that is where you can develop them to move away from their old way of doing things to the new. Okay. That's how we do that. Look, it is because of social media, but I tell you, My sister, we've heard about this thing for long. I'm a social worker by profession, so I know we go to rural areas, we encounter a lot of these things. They have been there since time immemorial. It is just that you don't get, there are times the occurrences do happen way before you get there or after you've left there.
Thank you.
So it is good. The perpetrators should be brought to book. They should be dealt with severely. That will serve as a deterrent to others. And I will plead, when they are apprehended, they should not just make it a quiet thing. It should be out there for people to know. NCCA and all those things should go into the communities, show it, educate them, sensitize them, and let them know that, look, we are in the 21st century.
Thank you.
And things like this must be done away with.
Thank you very much. We received some messages from you guys. Let's read them briefly. And Koma Foster from Achime Ruby says, Ghanaians have tested NDC and MPP, and they have seen the one who have done massive development in both education, economy, and development. Let's continue involved in safety protocols under this COVID-19. Okay, as a layman, I don't need to hear any 3% or 2% increase in fuel prices. Pre-lockdown, I could see fuel prices at 5 cedis plus. During the lockdown, it went down to about 4.3 cedis with social distancing. The prices shot up to 4.6. And these unions just increase fares again. Now you take full capacity and fuel prices are even far lesser now than pre-lockdown. Why the reluctance to bring back the old prices? As a former bus conductor myself, if I tell you the profit we are making, this is coming from Prince Harry. Hey, you're snitching on your people. Hello, Jifa. Most commercial vehicles owners feel they are more Ghanaians than others. When fare prices was increased, it took effect that very night it was announced. And now that there's a reduction for ordinary Ghanaians to benefit, the drivers are bringing many analysis to bear. Should we also tell them that most of us have lost our jobs, but we still pick Trotro, please? Okay, these are some of the messages you've sent. Unfortunately, I have run out of time, but Bright Yabua says from Obama, Kwawuta, for the transport should, as a matter of fact, be urgency to make sure the new directive will work effectively. From Saturday, all stubborn drivers must be brought to book. Thank you guys so much for your messages. A big thank you to my guest, Joyce Zempare, Deputy National Communications Director of the NPP, and Jean-Marie Fomadi, who's a National Communications Team member of the NDC. I hope you both enjoy your day and the week ahead. Don't go anywhere, guys. Philip Kofi Ashong will be joining us to talk to us about clearing up space on our devices. We'll be right back.
The payment of the LEAP cash grant to beneficiary households for the 67th cycle is scheduled to take place from Monday 27th to 31st July 2020. Note that the LEAP grant is paid bi-monthly to beneficiary households. The Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP is a social cash transfer program that provides cash grant to selected extremely poor and vulnerable households across the country. The extremely poor households with the following persons benefits from the LEAP program. 1. Orphan and vulnerable children. 2. The elderly 65 years and above without support. 3. Persons with severe disabilities and limited ability to work. And 4. Extremely poor pregnant women or others with infants under 1 year. The amount paid to a beneficiary household is not the same, but based on the number of eligible members who qualify the household for the program. One eligible member household receives 64 Ghana cedis. 2 eligible member household receives 76 Ghana cedis. 3 eligible member household receives 88 Ghana cedis. And 4 and above eligible member households receive 106 Ghana cedis. Persons at the designated pay points in communities or banks to receive the money for a household include caregivers who take the money on behalf of a beneficiary household. The COVID-19 pandemic is here. Protect yourself and your household against COVID-19 by wearing your mask at all times, washing your hands when you arrive at the payment area, use hand sanitizers if if you can and observe the 1.5 meters to 2 meters social distancing. Households are also encouraged to invest in their nutrition. LEAP beneficiary and caregivers are reminded not to give part of their money to anyone. The money is for you and the household only. When you have a complaint, please report to your community volunteer, District Social Welfare Officer, LEAP Management Secretariat, or Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. This message is from the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection and the LEAP Management Secretariat.
Hundreds of entries from across Ghana, hundreds of talented young keyboardists, hundreds of keyboard prodigies working their fingers to become the ultimate keyboard idol. On the 1st of August 2020, gather your friends and families to find out which of the top 20 contestants will make it to the audition stage of the Keyboard Idol on CCTV. Yes, you heard right. Keyboard Idol takes off on Saturday the 1st of August 2020 at 7 p.m. only on CCTV. Tune in to CCTV and follow the competition using the hashtag Keyboard Idol on all our social media platforms. Remember, this amazing talent competition, Keyboard Idol, is powered by CCTV. Visit cttvonline.com for terms and conditions.
Tune in to The Point of View this and every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. as I, Bernard Avile, get the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you.
What is the funding that we need? Do we actually sit down and leave things as they are? Or should we get more funding so that we can change how we do business as usual?
Even if you think of geopolitics and geoeconomics, we are entering an age where China wants to build its own internet, and we are seeing a new arms race, a technological arms race.
To be honest with you, it's politics. There are different dynamics in politics. I'm sure some people didn't give anything, some people gave some. It depends on the people you're working with.
Remember, The Point of View is live every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on City TV.
Point of View is powered by Airtel Tigo Extra. Even our bonus data doesn't expire. You the film? Dial *111# to activate now. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Dear sisters, I'm in love with a guy, but he is torn between another girl and me. He says he was with the girl before we started our relationship. I confronted him when I had the feeling that they were dating, and he confirmed it. He said he was dating both of us. He told me to give him some time. The other girl is aware he is dating me. She comes to his house to spend the night there even when I'm around, and sometimes sleeps in the same room with him whilst I sleep in the other room. When she calls him and I'm with him, he doesn't pick up, but will sneak out to call her. He says his family knows that he's dating the girl, but they do not know anything about me. Whenever I ask him about plans of our relationship, he tells me to give him time and that he's happy with me and not with her. I can feel she has him wrapped around her fingers. I don't know what to do. I can feel the other girl is not bothered about me being in the picture. Please, what should I do?
What are you? Are you like a spare tire? How dare he bring a woman to the house, sleep in the room with the girl, body no be firewood?
I mean, it's so messed up and it's so creepy. that environment is not good for you. It's toxic. Please get out.
Donzi. Me was some born a poor and easy. Me wager near na pan, me come as I'm sued dear Becca. Me fish to shop like it was. Sumi ye dear, I am at this one. Uncle na masem ye yo. Sometimes I dey feel me bad bebre yo. Me go get a swan no the bed oh, and nobody there to wish me well oh. Adishia pa me na mine. Donzi. Adishia pa me na mine. Enye easy oh. Adishia pa me na mine ye. Matam fwe nyami yo. Adishia pa me na mine. Me wasa mo bone po. Adishia pa me na mine. Adishia pa me na mine ye. Okay. Yo, so precisely like 27 years ago, when my mommy them and papi started divorce on the low. Now me swap. Me see a pan and no go know. Maybe they really hard to me was a blow. Cause broken home setting with everything mess up. My siblings, my parents, everybody left house. No love, no care, nobody they check up. My brother boy basa, school self I drop out. Me and me coming here, nobody day. My brother, at the papa know they come away. But one thing I know, you will three, you bet you could jay. We no go give up, we go push the house they go pay. Me the meeting go boom now, one day me yeah. Me bomb me home and then I say they be say me di yeah. Hey, me striking and your masu to 2 year. There was some up on the pole. Adishia pa me na mine. Ya semo. Adishia pa me na mine. Donzi. Adishia pa me na mine. Ye. Matam fwe nyami yo. Donzi. Adishia pa me na mine. Me na mine yo. Adishia pa me na mine. Me na mine yo. Adishia pa me na mine. Yo. Intimacy chrome. Send a beya me sabe komano. Ya me di miti beto. And no put them family home. Go hard or go home. Aim to my go chrome. My queen yameko. Na so me aso na meko so I speed up. Eju me be a academic cream. Se papa se boni on hene ba me jinem. Yes PK ice water. Emi joy se kanisha zain. Sister na me wiem. The whole street no size na ma wana dia. In your dia one day na obi cha me daga. Me jai no me bi and me go chu kada na me fobi or se me se obeya me better. Inti me den on see o delivery keke. When you do me bi a obe kwa bende pe me ma oka me ma odan. De be na wo pe. Wo hia so ma me asem se be Donzi. Me was some of one po. Enye easy o. Me na mini o. Me was some of one. Fast forward, Accra, Kumasi, sometimes study, Ghana, Togo, Ghana, Benin, Edam, Meko, Niger, Eka, Danka, Mamba, if me be na do, so we shall me a Wanka, KCM, na me see hospitals, na me yadoye, school fees, na me tia, Pia Bomi Bimpa, Bossu, Chairman, Madofu de Bibre, Garian Kolunka, one day, Fufi and Tuata. He threw me kwaba na me huaka, me huasa mabama, Madofu Swasa, I would don't see, me was some bonnet for What's up? Stones you on the MRC, City TV, DC Empire, what's up? Robo, Family, what's up? Tubani Music, me was some bonnet for respect.
If you can get all the understanding on some of the difficult subjects you struggle with in school. As a student, do you feel dissatisfied with how hard it is to figure out a subject you're learning? Or as a parent or guardian, do you worry that your child is struggling to understand some of the subjects in school? Well, now you don't need to sign up for extra lessons or tutors. Simply tune in to Class Act, Mondays to Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. on City TV. Class Act is a show that seeks to enable senior high school students gain a much better understanding of what they learn in school. All you need is a TV, a chair, your notebook, and your pen. Get clarity on subjects such as maths, English, IT, and science. Class Act airs every Monday to Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on City TV on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182. Don't forget your pens, pencils, and your notebooks and tune in to Class Act, only on City TV.
Welcome back, and it's time for us to talk consumer tech. And in this segment today, we have Philip Ashon joining us. He's the head of production here at the City TV, and also he's the host of City Trends on City FM 97.3. Now, today we want to talk about our gadgets at home, all right? And a lot of the times you find that we position our gadgets in spaces that actually are problematic, all right, because gadgets will end up having shorter lifespans than they need to, simply because we don't give them enough ventilation. Let's talk about this morning. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, like you said, there are a number of gadgets that, if you're at home, if you're working from home, or if you cast your mind back to your home, there are a number of gadgets that are around your house that typically are supposed to be very well ventilated in order to ensure that they perform optimally. Now, because of the availability of space, sometimes we compromise on the spaces that we provide for these machines, and basically. I just thought that we highlighted the importance of ventilation for a lot of the machines that we have, so people get a better appreciation of why they need to keep the spaces around their devices open so that there's ventilation. So, I mean, mainly at the heart of it, ventilation is important because the machines that we use at home, from laptops to microwaves to mention it, fridges to freezers. To dishwashers, to microwaves, to whichever one it is. They are machines at the heart of it, which means that there is some sort of electrical power coming into the system.
Okay.
It is being used by different components of the machine, and then an output is expected, either washing of clothes, or drying of plates, or washing of plates, or washing of whichever things that you want to wash, or boiling water, or whatever. Now, as we know with most machines that we are very conversant with, no matter what machine it is, so far as there is some activity happening, there is some heat
generated.
Produced. It's like your body. If you run, you will sweat because there's heat being produced. It's the same thing with a machine. So far as it is running, so far as it is performing an action, there'll be heat that will be generated. The thing is that the heat needs to be allowed to move out of the system, because if it stays in the system, it's going to compromise the system. It's like when you have a fever or you have a temperature. The higher the temperature, the more likely question marks to be raised about your state of health. So, for example, when you walk into most offices these days, there's someone with, a temperature gun measuring, or at least trying to get a sense of what your temperature is. The higher the temperature, the more likely you probably are, harboring, something. Corona or whichever. So clearly, the higher the temperature, the more likely something is wrong somewhere. So if you, for example, take your fridge, and you're constantly feeling a certain amount of heat around your fridge when you get close to it, it should tell you that there's something wrong. If you have a microwave typically is supposed to heat up, the food inside.
Yeah.
But then if you realize on a consistent basis, sometimes you put the things in it and it's not heating as much as it should, or the body or the unit itself is really hot, but then the product that you've put into heat is not heating as well as it should, it's most likely there's something wrong with the ventilation. Now, with most devices, there is supposed to be air coming in to cool down the system, and then the heated air is supposed to be allowed to go out. So basically, that is how it works. So, an example is in a kitchen, you will put an extractor somewhere in the kitchen, so that when you are cooking, it doesn't become too hot inside. So you can just switch, just hit a switch, and then the ventilator opens or the extractor opens, and then the hot air is taken out. Now, as the hot air is being taken out, at least you have a window that is allowing cool air to come in to cool the area. If you don't have these in place, that's why it's not very advisable for you to, for example, cook in an enclosed space without any windows, because there's going to be a lot of heat obviously generated in that space. So the principle is basically the same across board, but its application is different depending on the device that you are going to be engaged with. Let's start off with everybody's little favorite, a freezer or a fridge. So you have a fridge at home. Typically, you put a fridge in some corner. Almost everybody, for some reason, enjoys putting their fridge in some corner. Like it always has to be in a corner. Now, the problem here is, if it's in a corner, where's the cold air going to come from? And if it's in a corner, where is the hot air going to escape to? So these are just fridges that I'm sure some of you have at home. Some of them obviously high end, some of them not. But then, in order for all those things inside a fridge to cool, and these are freezers as well, in order for them to cool, obviously there's a machine process happening around it. Now, if what's inside is supposed to cool, then the hot air is supposed to find its way out because there's an activity happening. So if you constantly put it in a very tight corner, what you're doing is you're actually reducing the ability of cold air in that sense coming in to cool down the temperature of the device. And it's very, very important that we do that. We allow at least some space. Most often than not, when you buy the device, for those of you who bought it, properly packaged, there is some instruction as to the distances. A lot of people don't pay attention to those distances, but at least a 2 meter distance between, for example, the wall and the back of the device, 2 meters on the sides, 2 meters on the front is good enough for air to, basically be allowed to circulate around the device.
But then people are going to say that then it's sitting right there in the middle of the kitchen. That's inconvenient.
2 meters. Some people talk, for example, about 25 millimeters. Some people talk about 50 millimeters, depending on the device that you're looking at. So, I would definitely go for at least 25 millimeters or 20 millimeters. At least have some space between a wall and the device,
and the unit itself.
That at least allows some air to basically some ventilation to happen. Because if the ventilation doesn't happen and you spend 2,000 cedis buying a brand new fridge and your feeling is that it's going to sit in the middle of the room and it won't be nice, well, you can still keep it in the corner. Just know that it won't do the work you want it to, or it will break down much sooner than you want it to. And really, nobody has a lot of money to be spending buying devices just because they didn't position it well. So that's one of the things. So that's it for the fridges and the freezers. Let's look at the washing machines. Typically, people have, almost everybody has had this initial shock with their washing machine, especially when it's drying and it starts shaking. And like, if you have children, they might be very, very scared because they think the house is going to break down. Now, in order for it to do that, it's clearly a machine process. The drying it's clearly a machine process. If you've been around your washing machine, which hopefully has a dryer attached to it, and it is drying, you realize that there's a lot of heat that is generated through that process. All of that shaking doesn't happen just for any ordinary reasons. It happens because there's a machine process and there's a lot of heat being produced. So typically what is advised is on the sides you have 25 millimeters of space on the sides. On the top there should be at least 25 millimeters between the top of the device and any roof. And then on the back, where a lot of the tubing and everything is, you should have a minimum of 50 millimeters between the wall and in the back of the device. That is to allow all the tubing and everything, all the water that flows out or the water that flows in, the space, the heat and everything. At least give a 50 millimeter gap between the back of the device and then the back of the wall. So basically on the side you have 25 millimeters, on the top you have 25 millimeters, but the back is where it's most important because it's usually in the back where a lot of the vents are located or a lot of the dissipation of the hot air is done. So it's always best to give it that space. And like I said, there's always all that tubing and everything that you need to consider as well. Let's look at one other thing. Most people have either desktops or laptops in their home. Now, if you have a desktop, you typically put it in some corner because of the power cable and the mouse that you connect and the keyboard. If you don't have a wireless one, usually you are forced to even give it space anyway. But then it's always recommended that you also give it space because, as most of you probably have been aware, especially if you are into gaming or your kids are into gaming on the laptop, during those processes there's a lot. You can hear a lot of sound, like all of a sudden the machine is almost like it's screaming or it's shouting. It's just because the machine is working a little harder than it typically does. What this means is that more heat is generally being produced because the CPU in the machine is being tasked to do so much more work, or the GPU, which is a graphic processor unit, is being forced to do a little more work than it's typically supposed to. So once you hear some of these sounds from your desktop, just know that this is the process that's happening. If you don't have air conditioning in your house, it's really advisable that you position your computer in a space where it can get easy access to ready ventilation. It's either close to a window or something like that, or at least in an open space such that the back of the desktop is not blocked and the sides as well, depending on the sort of machine that you have. Some people have ventilation on the side and in the back. If you have it only in the back, that's fine. Just make sure there's enough space in the back to allow some cold air to come in and then the hot air to also be dissipated. Now, for those of you who use laptops on a regular basis, you have some of these devices which are made by different companies, which basically offers extra cooling. So you can see 3 fans in this setup. So you basically place a laptop on the device. It has a wire mesh of sorts or a mesh of sorts on top of it, and then the fans are connected to it. Some of them, some of these devices basically are powered through the USB of the laptop. Some of them you can connect it to some other, So basically, the whole thinking is that a lot of the laptops that we use today have the ventilation on the underside of it, especially the air that's supposed to come out. So like I said, the principle is cool air is coming into the laptop, for example, cooling the system, and then the hot air is also going out. And so the underside of your laptop most likely is where all of this is happening. Some of the vents are also located on the sides of some of the vents are also located on the sides of the device. So this is the airflow coming in, the hot air moving out. That's what you need to concentrate on. So if you're going to get any device like we are just seeing on the screens there, you have to understand that that's the principle of it. You're supposed to allow hot air to go out and then cool air to come into the system to cool down the system. Now, if you do a lot of very high intensity processing, you are a graphic artist, you play video games and things like that, just know that some of these devices will actually do you a lot of good, especially if you're working on a laptop. You don't want your thighs to be burnt by the heat being produced. So it usually helps to get some of these things, especially for laptops. It's very, very helpful to get some of these coolers to just basically give the machine as much ventilation as possible.
All right. So I think that the general principle here is if people are to remember the numbers, is to think between 20 millimeters and 50 millimeters.
20 millimeters, 50 millimeters. 50 millimeters usually for the back of the device, 20 millimeters for the sides and then the top.
Okay.
Usually that's because the back is where a lot of the devices end up, placing their ventilators and, the ducts where the air is supposed to pass. So usually it is advisable to have more space in the back of the device. If you have some vents on the sides as well, 25 millimeters just works just fine, but then at least 50 millimeters on the back of the device, you should be fine.
Super.
You should be good to go.
Thank you, Philip.
Always.
Thank you, Philip. Yeah. So Philip Ashong has been helping us to understand that. Make sure that you create enough space behind your machines, fridges, microwaves, washing machines, and so on, around 20 millimeters behind 50 millimeters. Just so that your machines can last a bit longer. It's less stressful for them. All right, thank you very much. We'll be talking to Philip Ashong, who is the host of City Trends on City 97.3 FM and also the head of TV production here at City TV. We'll be right back. Hello, Mr. President is coming up next, and Jifa will be hosting that. Don't go anywhere.
There is nothing as hard as a diamond. For buildings with superior strength that withstand all weather conditions, Diamond Cement should be your preferred choice. Locate Diamond Cement nationwide with factories in Aflao, Takrady and Bupe. Diamond Cement, as hard as a diamond.
Comprehensive news. The City Newsroom at 8 p.m. on City TV is your most engaging news bulletin on TV.
It's a very that's too bad. The youth are still throwing stones. They are still throwing stones here into our direction. And can I come in? I want to come in. Okay.
Telling your stories better with correspondence covering every corner of the country.
Getting access to potable water is a daily struggle for residents of Kakichekopi and Balekopi communities in the Ada East district of the Greater Accra region.
City Newsroom at 8 p.m. Very fluent with issues that concern you.
This is quite me can find Mr. Rabbi. Someone is here. Told you kind of a 1 week. What do you say?
Is it unfair? What all this? What all this? We are dying! We are dying! We are dying for Choco!
With City Newsroom, your community is now connected.
In this our community, all of us we are very sorry about this school. If we went to see the children, they are so small. Even my grandchildren are there. My grandsons are there. If they come out from the school, how will this?
Every day at 8 p.m., City Newsroom is live on City TV.
Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. It is time for Hello, Mr. President. And this week, a lot of you sent in videos. Again, if you're experiencing any problems in your community, are your hospitals bad? Are your roads terrible? Are there things within your community that are hindering your personal growth and the growth of the people around you? Please take out your phone and record an up to 1 minute video, or send us an up to 250-word text to the email hellomrpresidenttv@gmail.com, or to our WhatsApp line 0550-585832, and we'll do well to show the entire world every Wednesday at 9:30 on Breakfast Daily. We'll take a look at some of the videos we received.
Hello, Mr. President. I'm Latifa speaking from Obeye. Mr. President, we are on our knees. We are begging you to come to our aid. For the past year, we've not known joy nor peace. We have been terrorized by laggards. And then this very year is very serious. We don't have peace. They're even attacking us in our home, terrorizing us. We are begging you, Mr. President, please come and save us. Please come to our aid. Save us from these hands. Save us from the hands of these people. We are counting on you. We are begging you. Father of all nations.
Hello, Mr. President. My name is Esther Rosemary Wilson, a resident of Bechle Obeye. Mr. President, I wish to draw your attention to current happenings in Bechle. We are being assaulted and terrorized by laggards on a daily basis. We have no peace. We are scared to stay here. Our aged and children are not spared. Our lands are being taken from us forcibly, and we have no one to tend to. So we've come to you, our Father, to help us. Please, Mr. President, help us and do something about this.
So we are currently in July 2020, but as far back as January, the people of this community have been complaining about land guard issues, and not much has been done to bring them the peace that they so desperately desire. We'll take a look at a story we did on our online portal, citynewsroom.com, that had to do with this same exact issue. And as you see there, this story was written January 23rd, 2020. Bechle residents live in fear as land guard attacks increase. I'm going to read the entire story, and if we have time, we'll even play the video on top of that story that you see on your screens. So it says, tension is rising as Bechle, a community within Pong-Katamanso municipality, over the activities of land guards. The situation has become a source of worry for both residents and developers. Later on, we'll try and get you the video within that story, but you can see that as far back as January, people in this community were complaining that land guards are terrorizing their lives. I mean, owning a land is supposed to be a great achievement. A lot of people save up their entire life to own a land to finally free themselves of paying rent every month. You go get a land, and then somebody, a thug, decides that they will come and terrorize your life because they can do it, and no one will hold them accountable. Now, the police are speaking, and we are going to hear what the police had to say about this issue.
For the regional command here, we mounted a strong crusade on land guards, I think for the past 4 years, and so we had to even establish the anti-land guard units that have been very aggressive and consistent in its fights against land guards. We realized that when they are fighting over the piece of land, instead of going to the court for legal redress, they will always want to come to the police for the police to do so. So if the police does not do so, then the police is not fair. The police is shielding some developers to be able to develop their land.
So there you have it. That's DSP Efia Tenge from the Accra Regional Police PRO. And the entire land guard system is a big problem. So beyond the police, what kind of systems have we put in place to ensure that when someone gets a land, no one can come back and claim ownership to that land? Beyond the land guards, we have landowners who deliberately sell their land to different people, multiple people, and then go get the land guards themselves to terrorize these people. So there's a lot that we need to do. We're glad that the police is taking a look at this issue, but we need to do more to bring the residents of Bichile the peace that they've been asking for. They can't continue to live the way they've been living. Again, this is Hello, Mr. President on City TV. If you have any issues in your community that you would want us to discuss, to bring the attention to policymakers too, we can't continue to pay lip service to our own development, and we need to hold them accountable. Just take out your phone and record an up to 1 minute video, or you can send us a text to the email hellomrpresidenttv@gmail.com or our WhatsApp line 0550585832. And every Wednesday we'll show it live on air for the entire country to see, and call the policymakers who are supposed to solve these problems to answer to exactly why they've not done anything. We received more messages and videos, so we'll take a look at the next one.
Hello, Mr. President. I'm Kafui from Takrady. Behind me is Takrady Hospital Doctors and Nurses Bungalow. This project commenced under the SY Mahama government. It was aimed at providing a befitting accommodation for the doctors and the nurses working in this hospital. Although this project is about 70% complete, it has been abandoned for almost 4 years.
It is quite sad that at a time where we're talking about coronavirus and the importance of getting enough facilities to treat people who end up positive, we still have abandoned hospitals in this country. What's even worse is that our colleague, Akwesi J. Enim, did a story on this same matter as far back as September 2019. And we've not seen much progress. So we'll take a look at the report he did all the way in September 2019 and continue the conversation.
As we put a spotlight on the numerous uncompleted, or should I say, abandoned government projects across the country, including hospital facilities, today we have come to the European Hospital, which is basically the Metropolitan Hospital here in Takrady, also referred to as the European Hospital. And we have these flats that are uncompleted, actually started around the year 2014 by government and DFID. And it was expected to have been completed in 2016. But as we speak, the project is still being left unattended to. Luckily, we have Dr. Otuwa, who is the key person here at the Takrady European Hospital, to tell us, what he knows about this project. Doctor, what can you tell us about this project?
This project, if my memory serves me right, was around about 2013, 2014 thereabout. It is a DFID Government of Ghana project, what we call Katapa funding. And it started in earnest. Then it was supposed to be finished by 2016, but it dragged on 2016. And then everything fizzled out. Nobody see anything. Till, I think 2 days ago, we received a letter that the government has finished auditing all the abandoned projects, so we want to come have a look at it. So as we speak now, we are waiting for the government personnel to come out with them. We see our way forward.
But what is this supposed to actually serve you? As a hospital facility, what are involved in this project?
These are a couple of flats for all the staff in the hospital. It's supposed to serve the senior staff, the middle personnel, and then the housemen. I'm an obstetrician gynecologist by training, and by my caliber, I'm supposed to train housemen. So we left one whole flat for the housemen. But as you speak now, because you don't have any accommodation for them, we couldn't take in housemen for training. And they are very necessary to in our health promotion. At least they take a lot of load from us with the senior men.
The 90-year-old Takoradi Government Hospital, popularly known as European Hospital, which has seen little infrastructural and logistical upgrading, is not new to uncompleted projects. The hospital also has an abandoned emergency unit construction project, which was expected to have been completed for the CAN 2008 football competition held in Ghana, but currently declared dangerously weak to even complete it. To better explain the deplorable state of logistics at the hospital, the medical superintendent, Dr. Otubua, took me to the main theater.
The theater is very old, and there's nothing to write home about. We have been trying our best to make use of what we have. As we are speaking now, our theater bed, that's the one behind me, is very old. And most of the parts, we don't have the parts. When I talk about parts, I'm talking about the arm board, the headrest. We don't have all those. And even the headrest there is false. And so the patients, we have to adjust or improvise something for them before they can be able to rest their head on the bed. And also our lights, that's the operating lamp, is supposed to be movable. The one which is movable has been spoiled or faulty for over 5 years now, and it hasn't been repaired. We are told that we have to get a new one, and it's quite expensive. So we have only the immovable one. Even that one is very rusted. So we are appealing that we get, if possible, this theater should be refurbished for us.
There are about 95% completed staff accommodation here at the European Hospital, which has been abandoned since 2017, was just the first phase of a total project that was actually going to see the second phase also coming up with the infectious disease center. But because it has been halted, we don't even know whether the second phase will actually come to fruition. For City News, I'm Akoshe Jenim, Takoradi.
So there you have it. Our colleague Akwesi Jaini reporting from Takoradi, and we have to get to a point where we address the premium we place on human lives in this country. Every citizen is entitled to their right of life, which means that under no circumstances should a Ghanaian die because they ended up in a hospital that does not have the resources. As you can see there, the health workers are committed to saving lives. Even though they don't have enough resources, they get up every day to do the best they can. The barest minimum we can do as a country is to resource them well, now more than ever, so that in case someone who has a pre-existing health condition contracts coronavirus or anything at all and ends up in a facility like that, chances of saving their lives will be high. We have our correspondent Akwesi Jaini on the line. He's going to show us the current state of this project. Good morning, Akwesi.
Good morning, Jifa.
How are you?
I'm fine, Jifa.
Can you tell us what's going on?
Well, Jifa, as you can see, I've actually made it back to the European hospital, also called the Takoradi Hospital. And as you can see, the structures are in the same state as we came here several months ago. And my checks with the hospital authorities indicate that the Parliamentary Select Committee on our health and infrastructure made it here a week after we did the first report and gave promises that the contractors will come to site. But several months down the line, the situation is still the same as we came to see in our first report. The facility is supposed to actually provide accommodation for existing health staff and the house spent doctors who were actually supposed to have come here to train, and in the process of training also beef up the health capacity, the health staff capacity over here. But as we speak, the hospital didn't have that privilege of hosting them because of space. Again, talking to the medical superintendent, who doesn't at the moment want to speak because of victimization. He's telling me that several of their staff are also struggling with accommodation because of this project, which has actually been halted for no reason. And so, as we speak, that's the situation over here. We've tried to get answers from authorities who should be answering to these things, and it's been very difficult. The Metro Chief Executive, as you know, is no more, and the regional minister is the one acting. We've tried severally to get him. We didn't get any answer. So, as we speak, this is the situation. Nothing much has changed.
So we'll get to the authorities who are supposed to respond, but how are the health workers feeling? This must be very frustrating for them.
It is. I mean, I've checked, and some of them who are lucky to even have existing, or should I say, old quarters for the accommodation, those structures are in very bad shape. And so they were all hoping that when this thing comes to stream, I mean, it's completed, they could also get a chance to move in. And what even pains most of them is that they need more hands at the hospital. And for them to actually have this project halted, it means they wouldn't get the needed hands to come because they wouldn't have any place to actually accommodate them. And so that's the feeling across, I mean, the staff that we talked to.
Now, beyond the accommodation issue, you said they were supposed to have some sort of new emergency block to assist them with their work. Can you tell us more about that?
I must say, this emergency structure, as you saw in the footage that you played, was actually commenced a little before the CAN 2008. That's the African Cup of Nations in 2008. And it was meant to actually be the center for emergency within the metropolis. And they were doing everything to complete it before the CAN 2008, but it's halted. And the last time I came to talk to the medical superintendent, I was told that because of the many years the structure has been left, it has become dangerous for them to even continue, even if there's available money, and they will have to pull it down before they can reconstruct. So it's been abandoned, and it cannot be even continued if the money is available, unless the whole work is actually brought down.
Okay, see, I know that the authorities refuse to speak to us, but what impact will completing this project have on the community from where you are?
The first thing is that workers who must actually have a good place to sleep, that is the health professionals who have to have a good place to sleep and come back in good health to actually come and deliver, their outputs will be challenged because they wouldn't have the sort of energy that they need. Again, if the facility is ready, it means they can actually attract more personnel to come in and work here so that the turnaround time of people who actually come here to seek health care can be quicker, because when you don't have much hands taking care of the complaints or OPD cases, consultancy and all that, people will come and will have to wait in queue because there are few people offering consultancy services at the hospital. And so definitely healthcare delivery in general to the people will be challenged.
Thank you very much, Akwesi Enim, for being with us. And as I mentioned earlier, we tried countless times to reach out to the regional minister, but it didn't end up successful. And the regional director, we got a hold of him, but he said that he's with the president in the Savannah region, so he can't address this issue that his people are struggling with in that community. And we hope that come September, some progress would have been made, because that will make it a year since Akwesi Enim went there to cover that story, and nothing has still been done. Again, if you are experiencing any problems in your community, bad roads, terrible hospitals, schools, these are basic things that you need for your own personal development and for your children to finally rise out of poverty. If the leaders who are supposed to provide these services are not doing so, please take out your phone and record an up to 1 minute video. Send those videos to us via our email, hellomrpresident@gmail.com, or send it to us via WhatsApp 0550585832. And we will not only show it on Breakfast Daily every Wednesday at 9:30, but we'll also get some of our correspondents to come into your community to show the world exactly what you're experiencing and why it's important for the nation, the president, and the policymakers you voted for to answer to your problems and bring you the solutions you deserve to develop as a Ghanaian. Thank you guys so much for staying with us. Breakfast Daily. We'll be right back after these messages.
was some bonnet pop. Myself new. Donzi, who that?
TV family, Charlie.
Okay.
TV family, Charlie. Hey, hey. We are more than no. Me wager near na pam. And come and say me sweetie, me can. Me fuse so kwala ketwa. So me heady I am at the soir. I'm gonna massa me yo. Sometimes I feel me baby brain. You cock at us, I know the value. And nobody there to wish me well. I just see a palm and I'm in here. I just see a palm and I'm in here. I just see a palm and I'm in here. Hey, my town for the view. I just see a palm and I'm in here. I just see a palm and I'm in here. I just see a palm and I'm in here.
Hey, my town for the view. So precisely like 27 years ago, when my mommy and my papi started divorce on the loan, I miss her. You see a panda no go know. Maybe they really had to me, it was a blow. Cause broken home setting where everything mess up. My siblings, my parents, everybody left house. No love, no care, nobody they check out. My bra boy basa, school step I drop out. Me I'm coming here, nobody they. My brother, and the papa know they come away. But one thing I know, you will three, you bet you could change. We no go give up, we go push the hustle go pay. Me de me tibu boom now, one day me yeah. Me bomb me home then I say they be say me dia. And striking and no masu to ya. Me was some of a pop.
I just see a palm and I'm in here. I just see a palm and I'm in here. I just see a palm and I'm in here. Hey, my town for the view. I just see a palm and I'm in here. I just see a palm and I'm in here. I just see a palm and I'm in here. Hey, my town for the view.
Chrome, send a bayam and Sabe Comano, Yamidi Mitibeto, and no put them family home. Go hard or go home, ain't too much chrome or Queen Yameko, Nasumiasuna Meko. So I speed up, you may be at academic cream, Sepa Pow, Seboni or Hinebami Jinim, yes, PK, ice water. There was some bonnet pop, myself new. Donzi, who that?
TV family, Charlie.
Okay.
TV family, Charlie. Hey, hey. We are more than no.
We have Donzi in the building.
Yep.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What have you been up to? How's the year been for you?
It's been a bit rough and smooth. Obviously, you already know.
Not the attitude.
No. Obviously, you know the coronavirus thing, so it hasn't been easy, but we are still, working and putting in more work.
What inspired the single? Is it a real story?
Well, the first verse is my real life story. Yeah, so this song is very deep and people are talking about it. Like I've seen the comments and everything, and I think people can really relate to it because a lot of people went through the same thing. So it actually talks about the fact that, even after broken home, you don't have to give up. Because when it happens that way, people feel like they don't have anybody who is guiding them or taking care of them. So then they will go out there and do whatever to survive and all. You understand? But you have to look at the positive in it, and then take your chances, and then you move on in life. Because if you don't take care and you want to do the illegals to make money and all, people would hail you and everything, but you get yourself into trouble, and those people wouldn't be there for you. So no matter what happens, you have to just stay strong, and then you move.
Now, most artists, shades, hoodie, find it impossible to be vulnerable. How was that experience like for you?
It wasn't easy, but I always say that it's life and lessons. So when stuff like this happens, you can only learn and then move on as human, So it hasn't been easy, but we're still there.
Very glad you made it through, and look at this diamond that has come out of the experience. Where do we get the single? Where do we buy it? How do we support you?
Yeah, so now the single is out, it's everywhere. The video is also out. You just saw the video. Very nice and beautiful.
Beautiful. Video. What was the? You got to shout out the people who contributed to the video.
Okay, so shout out to the host.
Okay.
Yeah, he shot the video. He did so well. Shouts to all my guys who came around for the video shoot. Actually, because we shot the video at the Jamestown, where the prisoners used to be. So there was a picture out, and people thought I was in prison and all.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you saw that picture and you thought,
he's not in prison.
No, I'm here. It was just a video shoot, So shouts to everybody. Shouts to the engineer, to Barney and also Familia for making it possible.
Let's talk about Familia, because some people are saying that he does well with these kinds of songs.
Yes.
How was that collaboration like?
So I had the verses there, and then I needed someone to complete it. So I felt like he's just the perfect fit for the song. So I had to just contact him, send him the song. He heard the song, he was like, yo, this is mad, make it just do it, make it kill him. He sent the verse back, and it was crazy. So shout out to Familia.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Where do we follow you on social media?
Yeah, so my Instagram is @donzichaka, and then my Twitter is @donzi_chaka, and then Facebook is donzi_chaka. Follow me. The song is out on my YouTube channel, Donzi GH.
Is it okay to call you Pastor Donzi?
Pastor Donzi. Yes. People still call me Pastor Donzi. I'm not a real life pastor.
But you're still ministering by sharing your life story with us.
Yes.
You have no idea how many lives you're touching by just sharing that story.
That's true.
Go to his YouTube channel, watch the videos, subscribe, share. We got to support him.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys at home for staying for Breakfast Daily. It's been a really interesting show. Today's a special day.
Yes.
Paula,
one of our
fashion
directors.
critic, everything in between. We love you so much. We're so thankful for your
Happy
life.
birthday, Paula.
Happy birthday. And she says she's going to treat us from now till the end of the week. And her church people are going to come on board and also do a big party.
Paula, my birthday is on Saturday, so let's mix it up. Let's mix it up.
We love you so much, Paula. Keep doing you and keep being amazing. But thank you guys so much for joining us for Breakfast Daily.
Absolutely.
It's been a great show.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
So go over to YouTube and follow the different segments of the show. You can replay it, like, share, comment on it, and let us know what you're thinking.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yep. Absolutely.
My name is Jifa Ekia.
And I'm David Kwekusechi.
Stay safe. Enjoy your day. We'll see you 7:30 tomorrow.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.